In the world of professional football, we often see the glory, the strength, and the victories. But behind the helmets, behind the smiles, there are stories of silent battles. Stories that remind us that even the strongest athletes can carry the heaviest pain. This is the story of Marshawn Kneeland, a young, talented football player whose bright future came to a heartbreaking end far too soon. Marshon was known as a powerhouse on the field. Determined, disciplined, and deeply respected by his teammates. He was just 24 years old, full of potential and dreams. From a young age, Marshon had always loved football. In one of his final interviews, he shared how his journey began when he was just a little boy, around 7 or 8 years old, being raised by a single mother who did everything she could to support his dreams. He didn't have many opportunities early on, but that never stopped him. Marshon's dedication carried him from two-hand tap games on school grounds to the full-contact world of college football. He eventually made it to Western Michigan University, where his talent on the defensive line started drawing national attention. He also excelled in basketball and track, sports that built his speed, footwork, and stamina, all of which helped him dominate on the football field. But even as his athletic career took off, Marshon's story wasn't just about success. It was also about struggle. During his time in college, Marshon spoke openly about how the pressure in sports was unlike anything else. In his own words, he described how the jump from high school to college football demanded a new level of work, physically, mentally, and emotionally. He said, "You've got to separate yourself. Everyone works hard, but what you do outside of practice when no one's watching, that's what really matters." Behind those words was a young man who pushed himself endlessly, but also someone who understood what it meant to be exhausted, not just in body, but in spirit. Then came a period of change. Marshon's head coach at Western Michigan was fired, and many of his teammates, the people he considered family, began transferring to new schools. Feeling uncertain and wanting a new start, Marshon decided to enter the transfer portal. He had several offers and even visited UCLA and Colorado, hopeful about what lay ahead. To many, this was just the next chapter of a rising star's career. But to those close to him, something deeper was happening. Then came the tragic news. Reports began to surface that Marshawn Kneeland, now associated with the Dallas Cowboys, had passed away at just 24 years old. According to authorities, Marshon was experiencing what they described as a distressing mental health episode late one Wednesday night. TMZ reported that his girlfriend had contacted police after receiving deeply alarming messages that sounded like final goodbyes. She told investigators that Marshon had been struggling with mental health challenges, something he had quietly battled, away from the public eye. Police records say that around 10:39 p.m., Marshon was involved in a brief pursuit after officers tried to stop his vehicle. Moments later, his car was found crashed along the Dallas Parkway, but Marshon wasn't there. Hours later, officers discovered him nearby, and the news that followed broke hearts across the nation. The Dallas Cowboys organization released an emotional statement, paying tribute to their young defensive end. They described him as a kind, driven, and respected teammate, someone whose smile could light up the locker room, and whose determination inspired everyone around him. Teammates, fans, and coaches flooded social media with tributes, sharing how Marshon had touched their lives, not just through football, but through his warmth and humility. It's a tragic reminder that mental health struggles don't discriminate. Even those who appear strong, those who make it to the highest levels of success, can be silently fighting battles we know nothing about. For many, Marshon's death has become a painful wake-up call. Across the sports world, players and organizations are once again calling for more mental health awareness, more support, and more open conversations about what athletes endure behind the scenes. Because the truth is, it's not just about the game. It's about the human being behind the jersey. In one of his final interviews, Marshon smiled when asked what kept him going. He said, "You just have to keep working. Keep separating yourself. No matter what." Those words, once meant as motivation, now echo with heartbreaking irony. It's easy to see athletes as superheroes, as unstoppable forces. But beneath the surface, they're human, with fears, doubts, and pain. As the football world mourns the loss of Marshawn Kneeland, fans are left remembering a young man who gave everything. His time, his heart, his effort, for the sport he loved. And though his life ended far too soon, his story serves as a powerful message. Check on the strong ones. Reach out to your friends. Listen when someone says they're in pain. Because sometimes that single act of compassion can save a life. Rest in peace, Marshawn Kneeland. Gone too soon, but never forgotten.